Hello there everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Now today I will also be making a tutorial on how to install the Chechnya mod. Now this is available on the mod planet forums, which are in Russian, and this mod is created by Teamwar, and it's one of the best mods, if not my favourite, probably number one, just for effects and graphics, atmospheric setting, as well as immersion. Now it's short and sweet really, because there's a few missions about the two campaigns and one or two singles, but everything in it is done to perfection. It's quite a hardcore modification if you want to, like, get through the streets of Grozny with as many men alive as possible. So we go to this here, Yandex. That's the link for the mod, which I'll put in the video description. But I've already downloaded the Chechnya mod. I have another version of it as well somewhere. And we're going to unzip this. I think it's an exe installer. Oh no. The whole mod is just in there like that. I don't remember it being like this. So you extract here. Now what I recommend you do is... hold on. Let me just take a look at something. So, if your system locale isn't set to Russian, or you haven't installed the Russian language to Windows, it will appear like this. I'll just use Chinese as an example. But I just can't find their version of Hidden Stroke in my files. There we go. Okay, version 2 maybe. So this is a Chinese mod, look, as you can see by the Chinese writing. And if we go into here, because that 7-zip is still unpacking, error. Maybe in this folder then. Where's the run exe file? God damn. Okay, there we go, finally got there. If we run this, look, everything is a question mark. I mean, why on earth is everything a question mark? It can recognize like our names, but everything appears as a question mark. You can see the Chinese writing in the briefing, but you literally don't know where the menu is. You can't see anything, which is horrible. I can't even quit. Oh, how do I get out of this? I'm trapped. There we go. So we're out of there now. So to change this, you have to go to your system. Now it's going to be different on like modern systems. Wait. So if you go to region and language, mine's set to English, United Kingdom, but somewhere here it is, system locale. And mine is set to Russian, so then therefore when I open a Russian program, it reads it as Russian. Now since I can speak Russian, it's more useful to me, and we can also translate it back into English with the Yandex instead of just looking at question marks. So if you have that issue with question marks, just change that to Russian. Now really the Chechen mod, it doesn't really... I'm just going to use my version, save waiting for that to unpack, and we'll go back and look at that in a minute. You run it from the Chech exe file. There's an editor as well with loads of unfinished maps. But then, Chechnya Igraya is single player. There's no campaign, I don't think. Oh, yeah, there is. Campaign for Russian Federation. And the author made another campaign. So this is the first mission in the campaign. Now, if you back out by pressing on it, I don't know what that says. Single mission. It literally just says single mission in Russian there. Some of these missions are available here too, under different names. But if you go to campaign, the Chechen one hasn't been built, and I don't really think it is going to be. but we launch the campaign and it should take us straight into the game. So the goal of this mission, with even out understanding Russian because I've played it 4 times, is to capture this crossroads, then destroy the mortars here, and then just fully encircle the city. So just as a bit of advice, or like tutorial, or a hint I suppose, toward the Chechnya mod, it's these 2 mortars here are your most valuable unit. You only have 2 tanks, but you have a BMP-3, which is kind of like a tank in terms of armaments. Now it's really dark, this mod, so you can press the escape button to bring up the menu and go into graphics, and then I think you can change the brightness. See how dark that is now. But yeah, you can turn up the brightness just to see what's going on. To change the speed, it's Sokrost. No, Sokrost Igre is the speed of the game. This is the mouse and the scrolling of the keyboard, I think. I like the game speed to be about there. Not like tanks like zooming down the road, but also not moving at snail pace. And then there's just the sound. So if you have no volume, it's most likely because it's all there. You just adjust those. Musica is the only one that affects anything. So that's the sound. This 3BYK. Graphics is graphics, and that is speed there. So we go back to the game. You also have RPO Shamel, which is one of the most effective units in this mod. You're just blowing up houses straight up and burning them into the ground. Snipers again. You want to just pre-fire half the buildings, since as you have enough ammunition. You have sappers. There's 1 anti-tank gun which you can drag along, and an anti-aircraft. There's also units cooped up here. Now the ally in this mission will attempt to capture this area, but I wouldn't advise pushing there. And these trucks have so much ammunition along with that supply truck that really with the mortars you can just, you know, destroy all of Grozny and level the place, instead of just rushing in. So now if we make contact with the enemy, this is turning into a tutorial. I know to play the Chechnya one now. If we push forward, it's scripted that the enemy launches an attack, so let's see if we can deal with it. So again, there's another RPO Shamel there. The icon for him is like some red skull and a massive looking rocket launcher. Infantry combat in this mod as well is one of the best, since the actual riflemen with the AKM and AKMS are actually able to shoot at enemy infantry instead of just sitting there while the machine gunner does all of the work. So I've sent in a BMP just to trigger the script. As you can see, that's where the Chechen tanks are, because they just shot me. But once you know the enemy's whereabouts, it's only a matter of time before they're worn down by the mortars, which I suggest you put an officer by to increase obviously their experience. And we should really get a sniper around this side, or a tank. Now you want to watch all the angles and alleyways, because you can get down them, and so can the Chechens as well. So you'll probably be a bit more organised than I am now, just for the sake of like the video. Trigger this attack, or if the game will let us. So yeah, MTLB got decimated. It still didn't trigger this attack. You can see there's some of the effects and the sounds and stuff. But yeah, you just slowly make your way through this street. Let's just go full scene. So there's the Chechen counter-attack. But it doesn't take long for things to divulge into absolute chaos, as you can see. There you go, he just got hit by an RPG. So that is just like a mini tutorial. I'll come out of the game now, so this will turn into a video about playing it. And I think, from what I'm going to have a look, but I'm pretty sure this is the exact same. So the author's left in these screenshot files. Is this the same version now? We got a lot fewer maps. There's a tutorial mission actually, which I should have pointed out, shouldn't I? Is it this one? I think it's this one. It lets you have command of units and just destroy like a parliament building somewhere in Grozny, just for practice. And it's what I played first to get to grips with the mod. Yeah, so it's this mission. And that's the objective, and that's literally the mission. But you can have a play around in here and learn how everything works. You will get these units later on, but consider that like a tutorial mission. And that mission is called No, it's this one. And you can tell by the bitmap, of course. There's a mission here, parcels from Ukraine. If anybody manages to beat this, please let me know. It's such an insane mission. You get absolutely swarmed, and I don't even think it's passable, to be honest. Or I'm just that bad. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope that helps. Obviously here you've got your settings, and our difficulty is veteran. I don't know. I don't understand any of those, but veteran seems like the officer difficulty. To quit the game, you just bottom left there, and yes. And that is pretty much everything. We could also translate it into English, to be fair. Maps and menu included. Which might be something to look at, because we did translate the Gulf War mod into English completely, along with all the missions, and that was available on our Discord, but I don't think I put it anywhere else, which is the topic for the next video, I think. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I hope you learned something. If you have any further questions, please put them in the comments.